Blackout by the Dropkick Murphys, another album that I absolutely revere. I can't believe it's turning 20. That
It's
blows
crazy,
my
isn't it?
mind that turns an album that just has lived. Even I talk about eras where I didn't listen to punk or didn't listen to music as much. That's an album that has just never left, and it's one of those too. And maybe because the Dropkick Murphys became so famous after the fact, but it's like if you have one of your friends that knows nothing about punk or really isn't into it, like, oh, what do I play that they might like or dislike or at least have a conversation about? Throw in Blackout, and it's like, what the hell is this? People are kind of thrown off by the sound. The Dirty Glass. One of these days, I'm gonna get my wife to do karaoke with me to that song
That's my
somewhere.
favorite song on the album.
Kiss Me, I'm Shit Faced. I used to have a hat that said "Kiss Me,
Dude,
I'm Shit Faced" that I bought
Dirty
at the warp
Glass
tour.
is like so. If you look at my arm, you can go, "Oh, this dude listened to Rancid and Dropkick Murphys." Like, are you kidding me, dude? Like, just look at my arm and tell me I didn't listen to all that stuff. I got a freaking
Oh,
shamrock, a mic, a rose. Like, it even says like rock steady on my arm. Like, bro, like it's so evident that that's where I grew up. But this is another one of those records that sent me the other direction, man. It's just like War and Arism. I got to this album, was like, ugh, what? No, because I was around when they did The Gang's All Here. I
mm,
was around when their first album dropped. I was already buying their records. And so they were not a Irish band. They were an Oi band. And then
mm-hmm.
all of a sudden they're like Irish. And I was like, okay, I guess. Like Sing Loud, Sing Proud came out. And I was like, all right.
I don't like that album. I do not like that album.
What?
Yeah,
And you like Blackout?
that's the one from 2001, right? You're talking about the album from 2001.
I think so. Yeah, I'm looking right now. How can you like Blackout and not like that? That doesn't even make sense.
It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't. You're correct. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying
No,
that,
that was awesome.
I give it a chance because I was like, all right, like I need to get into this more. Like, I don't know, and like I like a lot of that '90s. I think of like Barroom Hero and all that. I'm like, oh, that's such good stuff. But
Bro,
then,
that's the first song I ever heard by them.
yeah, myself as well. I'm pretty
Face
sure.
down in the gutter, won't admit defeat, though his clothes are soiled and black. How do I
And
remember that, bro?
the band doesn't even have to sing it too if they play it live. They could just
No,
they could just go
because they
like that.
start, yeah, they start it and people just go off. That's it, bro. That song is done. Yeah,
They're
sing loud, sing proud, bro. I can't even imagine.
yeah, and I'm sure there's songs in there I like. I just every time I give it a chance, I'm just like,
The
what am
Rocky
I
Road,
missing here?
3, 4, 5. I mean, like, good rats. Like, I can't even imagine. I
Did you continue with them though? Like, because you said you Blackout was a little bit funky for you. Did you keep following them or no?
so here's the thing: is I got the Warriors code
Uh-huh.
and I was kind of back on. I was like, all right, I get it. And then they did the meanest of times, and I was like, okay, because that actually felt like a more punk record than their previous two.
Mm,
It had so much punk in it, and then it had Flanagan's Ball, and my mom's maiden name was Flanagan, and that is
mm,
literally what got me to pay attention to them again. As I was like,
mm,
huh, that's an interesting song title, so I bought the record
yeah.
because of it, and I was like, that's cool. I'll listen to it and tell my mom about it, and then I got back into them a little bit, and today going back and listening to Blackout, I really don't understand why I fell off. I
Yeah.
really I don't know.
Was
I
it
think
what,
I think I might have been at a point where I was just going. I'm telling you, dude, 2003 was a year. I turned 21 in 2003, bro. I was the
mm,
most punk I had ever been and will ever be from age 20 to like 24, dude, because I was
mm.
doing all kinds of shit I shouldn't be doing, bro. I was jumping off roofs. I was breaking into houses. I was fighting people all the time. The 3 times I went to jail was all in those 3 years. Like, bro, yeah, dude, I was a wild
The
ass kid back then. And
the
like,
testosterone years, man.
yeah, dude, like
Yeah.
Dropkick, like for some reason, man, I
Well,
think they
couldn't have
are
they were appealing though at that point again to kind of our thesis of this podcast. They were appealing to like my
like normies
generation
and
at that
shit.
point. Yeah, yeah, totally. And I remember I seen them. I want to say I saw them on the Warp Tour that year. I saw almost every band we're talking about now. I saw on the Warp Tour either that year or the next year,
Yeah,
and it was weird because I didn't expect how their fan base was made up of like every type of warped kid that was there was just kind of there. I didn't know if they were all
yeah.
into it, but they all like wanted to see it. In fact, my background, if you could see it, it's a photograph from the Dropkick Murphys set. You
Oh,
can't really
really?
make it up, but there's like an Irish flag back there from, and I just
That's
thought it was
awesome.
the coolest thing. The singer came out with a Budweiser and just threw it at the crowd, and like I don't even know, like he took a swig of it, and threw it, and then it just felt like shit was on that Warp Tour set. Like
Like they're
we were
always
going.
great live. I like them live. Yeah, man. I don't know, dude. I do feel a certain kind of way when my bands that I like genuinely feel like, man, I put in the time, dude. I
Mm.
was there when you were playing in front of 30 fucking kids, and like, you don't get to do this to me, man. And at that age, that made sense. At 41, I'm like, that's stupid. But like at
I actually
20,
have that
dude, I was like,
with them actually too in a way. Not I didn't see them to the level you did, but still in '03, it's not like any other kid in school was listening to
right,
Dropkick
right,
Murphys
yeah,
either.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They were
So
still pretty
as
small.
like my cousin who like my cousin my Marine jarhead cousin who like loves the Dropkick Murphys cares nothing about punk rock, and I did kind of get I've been being a hypocrite too. I kind of got annoyed with that with them.
No,
Like
dude, it's really dumb, man. You don't get to like this band and then tell me that Rancid sucks. You don't get to like this band and then not appreciate the Bruisers. You don't get to like this
right,
band and then tell me that the one Mike McLogan was in after Street Dogs aren't as good. Fuck you, dude. That's not cool. You
right.
don't get to do that to these guys. They're all the same dudes. Like you can't do that. And that's how I felt about it. And now
Right,
I'm
and
just like, eh.
and again, it's all superficial, but
It's so well, but it was
it got
important to
annoying
us.
to me. It did get annoying to me. Like it got annoying every time. Like I'm a big like sports guy, which doesn't go with punk rock. But every time there's a reference to like Dropkick Murphys, I don't know why it bothered me that people didn't realize that was a punk band, and I don't know why that bothered. Like I just wanted them to get the credit for that. Like
No,
because because
that's what it is.
they're from our world, and that's what it is with a lot of that. A lot of that is like it's not so much that you're resentful about them coming up. It's just that you want them like that other work should be validated, maybe. And
Well,
sometimes,
yeah.
especially if people perceive it as an overnight success, that will
Yeah,
really
that's
piss you
and
off.
don't tell me that the gangs all here isn't as good as Blackout because it is. It's just
Mhm.
different. And like
Right.
what it bothers me is that like you have guys that listen to bands like Dropkick, like you said, they don't care about punk rock, and you go to a show and you have some fucking roughneck oil worker in work boots, jeans, and a Wrangler shirt, drunk as fuck, beating up kids. And
Mhm.
I'm like, no, 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 dude. This is a
Mhm.
punk rock show. Like, you don't get to come in here and do that. And that kind of person likes Dropkick Murphys now because they were big enough to be outside of like, dude, like drop. I don't think people understand how big they are now. Like
Mhm.
they're huge, dude. Like
I think they're the biggest band. Are they the biggest band from like our neck of like the stuff you and I like? I always try to think
they,
about like
I
so
mean,
okay
they
of a
gotta be
Hellcat band.
right.
They're the biggest Hellcat band ever, right?
I mean, they're bigger than Rancid, right?
Yeah. I Rancid I think has a bigger legacy than them, obviously,
I
or
was gonna
maybe
say I
not.
don't know if that's
Obviously,
true or not, but it might
yeah.
be.
It might
It's
be,
close. It's close.
but
But
I'm
like,
biased. But if a band of any band that was ever on Hellcat, I mean, I
yeah,
think they've got
Dropkick.
to be the biggest.
But like, and those kind of people go to those shows. And it's just like whenever Hatebreed got really big. I was into
Mhm.
Hatebreed, but to me, they were just like a hardcore punk band that liked some metal stuff, right? So when they started doing like Headbangers Ball and all this stuff, I was like, oh, what Ozfest? Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like
That
Hatebreed's on Ozfest? What?
this band, the one that you like to clown on, Event
Oh,
Sevenfold, that was
yeah,
that for me exactly.
yeah.
Yes, because
And so it's like, but and then like now I got these like, you know, redneck dickheads playing like hanging out at these shows. Like
yes,
I had this image in my head of like dirty work boots with their jeans tucked inside of them, and like a popped polo, a beer, and a stupid ass haircut, and then like fist fighting them.
mhm,
Like I got into so many fights, Rob. I don't know how you did back then.
mhm,
I did not like that shit, man, and I was angry about it. And I was the guy that would like go in there, and if you were picking on some kid in a pit, I would start a fight with you, even if I got my ass whipped, and that happened plenty of times. I would start a fight with you. If you were picking on somebody or if you didn't know what you were doing and you're in there acting an ass because you thought that's what we were doing, because that's what it is. They think that they're
mhm.
doing what we're doing. And they're like mocking what we're doing. And I'm like, no, 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 dude. We
They,
come in here full of
they
piss
don't
and vinegar and we
understand it's
get
a
it out.
communal event.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we get it out of us. And then we go out like this. And we're like, yeah,
right.
bro. Even if we got a busted nose, you come in there and you just want to hurt people. It's not the same.
Yeah,
And so
you're doing athletics. You're not doing yeah, it's something different.
yeah,
I that's what that
we were exercising the demon, and you were being an asshole, and there's such a big difference.
I think that's why like I love metal. I mean, I'm wearing a freaking Iron Maiden shirt today, but I think that's why I like mainstream metal because I never could vibe with like the local metal like dudes and that whole vibe and how they interpreted going to a show and what that
I
experience was
I
like
don't like metalheads
versus
for a lot of reasons, and that's one of them.
like when I went to punk. I remember going to see like the Unseen or seeing the Casualties or seeing bands that like I was kind of afraid of, but like I was also like, these are like the nicest people in the world that are here.
Hell yeah.
People I don't even know that I feel like this community with, that, from all different spots. And like, to me, metal, where I think it's good music, it doesn't share that in that way at all. In fact, it's almost out the opposite of that.
Yeah. Punk rock's got the same kind of people in it, though, if you think about it. If you really want to be honest
True.
about it. But like Dropkick's one of those bands that really crossed over and it made it kind of dangerous to go to shows. Because if you're a real punk rocker, you're gonna fuck somebody up, dude. Like if you're really into this shit I'm into and you're not putting up with that, those other dudes also like to fight. Those rednecks like to fight, man. I'm from Texas, bro. Rednecks exist, dude. They're a mean bunch of motherfuckers, and they're big and they're corn fed and they're ready to throw down. And like you get a kid like me who's also like tired of being bullied and ready to throw down. That is a recipe for bad news, dude. Like there was so many fights with those guys. I mean, I remember showing up to a house party and it was a punk rock party, dude. Like punk rockers were there. That's it. There was nobody else there. And then all of a sudden, there was like one dude that was in the house that was a punk rock kid. You know how every scene has that one kid who's cool with everybody?
Mm-hmm.
He was that guy. He was cool with everybody, but he had like a little bit of money, but he was still super punk, dude. He was the guy that like funded a bunch of punk shit. Like he was punk to the bone, dude. But he had a little bit of money. And so he was friends with guys that weren't really of the same ilk that we were. They weren't the same stuff. I was poor, dude. I was punk out of necessity, dude. Like I had to be a punk rocker. That's all that was going to happen for me, dude. It was either that or failure. Like, I'm sorry, it's just what it was. Those were my options. Punk rock, failure. I went with punk rock. I love it. It changed me, it helped me. And so these guys come into the house and they're just being dicks, bro. Like they're just like, thinking about it right now makes me so angry because they were just these guys. Like they were literally wearing pink polo shirts, dude. Like not in like I would wear one now, but it would be spray painted on it or something, you know? They were wearing it and they had on like a white one underneath it. It had like two collars popped and they had on like those really ridiculous jeans with all the crap on it and like Nikes, and clearly had money. They drove up in brand new cars at age 19, 20 years old. And I just remember thinking like, these are the guys that I hate when they show up to shows because they don't really know what they're there for. Sometimes they're not even there for a band. They're just there to be there. And my friend that I didn't know until that night, we became very close after this, was sitting there at like this like bar top talking to me, drinking and smoking. And my friend goes, "Hey, you should meet Frankie. You'd like him." And I was like, "What's up, dude?" And I shook his hand and he goes, "Hey." And we're just sitting there for a few minutes and, we're doing some drugs and stuff. And like, he looks over and he's like, "Man, fuck that guy." And I was like, "Yeah, dude, fuck that guy." And he's like, "You want me to go punch him in the face?" And I didn't know this guy. So I was like, bro, I'm gonna start crying because Frankie's gone, dude. Like, I miss that dude a lot. Bro, this just out of nowhere got me super emotional. He was like, "You want me to go punch that guy in the face?" And I was like, "Yeah." I didn't think you'd do it. And he just walks over to this guy, and this dude is big, bro. Like Frankie's my size, and this guy's like a good 4 or 5 inches taller than us, man. And he's like, I can just see him talking, but I can't hear anything since it's a party, right? And he just looks over at me and does like this, like, "Fuck yeah, bro." And I was like, "Huh?" And he just goes, boom, and he hits this dude. And just when I say that shit hit the fan, dude, I'd never understood what a melee was until that night. Dude, there was people flying around this place. And so we get it calmed down, right? And this is the kind of dickheads that I'm talking about. Shit calms down. Everybody got their ass beat. Not just these guys, everybody. Yeah, Frankie started it, but we all got the shit beat out of us. And they were being pricks. It is what it is, dude. Where I come from, it's over with. They literally drove home and got their dad's shotguns and handguns and came back.
Tough guys, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we ended up outside a cul-de-sac with guns in our faces, but we were stupid idiots, so we weren't backing down. And I remember hiding on the roof with a pair of brass knuckles in my hand. And I was thinking like, I'm going to die tonight. And I was like, fuck it, dude. And I was like, it is what it is, man. And I'm like waiting for this guy to walk underneath like the awning of my friend's front door. And the whole idea is when he walks close enough, I'm nailing this dude. And I was like, if I get shot, so be it. I'm going to go out in a blaze of glory. And like, I swear to God, dude, it was like a movie, man. I'm hanging on the edge of this thing. He doesn't know I'm there. He gets about 10 feet from me and I'm shaking, dude. I'm scared. I was like, I don't want to get shot, but I also can't bitch out on my friends. They're going to get shot if I don't do this. And like, I don't know what would have happened, but I guess one of the neighbors had heard like a bunch of commotion and peeped out the window, saw like real violence about to go down, and called the police. And we were so dumb and we were so messed up on drugs. We had no idea that was even a possibility. And like right before I jumped on this guy, the police showed up, dude. And I don't mean like a cop car, dude. I mean like 10. And just dude, I saw it. I saw like siren, like lights, and I'm like on this roof, and I'm like, what is going on? And I was like, yo, I wonder what's happening. Like, why would they be out in this neighborhood? They're coming to our house, dummy. Like, and then they got there, and I hid on that roof for like 4 hours, dude. Oh, I was the only one that didn't get in any kind of trouble. I laid flat on that roof for hours, dude, and I was just dripping sweat and smoking cigarettes, and like I was like in this corner, like the house had like the front was like a garage, and it came down, and like the side it like formed like this weird little crook that I could lay in and just kind of be out of the spotlight. I mean, they
perfect amount of space. Yeah,
dude, they were walking by and hitting with like high beams and stuff, and I was just like, oh god, please don't catch me. Because like I've been at parties that got busted and I got caught and got in trouble. Like I was just like, please don't do this. My mom and I aren't even talking right now. Like, oh my goodness, bro. Like what happens? And that's the kind of people that I think of when I think of Dropkick Murphy shows. I think like I don't want to deal with those kind of people. I don't know how we got onto that about Blackout. Oh, that's because that's when this happened.
That started.
That's when this happened. Is like when Blackout came out, they got so popular that guys that didn't understand what we were doing showed up, and guys that didn't care about camaraderie, they didn't care about blue collar work ethic, they sure as shit didn't care about DIY anything. They didn't understand that 2 years prior to that, the people that were in the crowd were the ones that put on the show so that they could come and play in Houston. They didn't get that. And you know, they don't understand. Like nowadays I'll talk to guys that are like a little older, like maybe like close to my age, and I'll go, yeah, blah blah. They're like, man, that's really cool that you guys do all this stuff. And they're a little more open, but they're also in their 30s now. But even 20-year-olds now probably wouldn't get it. They wouldn't like, you'll never replicate what happened in like the 70s, in the 90s, in the 2000s, the 2010s. All this stuff is history. Like you're never going to replicate it. We won't be able to replicate tonight. We won't be able to replicate 10 years ago or 5 months ago or 23 years ago. You can't replicate it. So we can't do it over. But we can sure make a lot of cool conversations about it and tell a lot of cool stories, because even that fight, like if I met those redneck guys like today, I would probably shake their hand, because in all reality, they were being assholes, but we didn't have to punch them in the face either. I genuinely did not think he was going to hit that guy.
There was a lot of ramifications from that one punch.
Bro, so many people got hurt that night. It was crazy. Like we fucking destroyed that house, dude. Like, I saw a leftover crack play as choking victim at a house in Pasadena, Texas, and it was like this punk girl's grandma's house, and there was like 250 like crusty punk kids at this house, dude. And it was like a all-day event, and like again, there was a big fight at that, and like, but they played in a living room, dude. And I was like 4 feet from them the whole time, getting kicked and punched, like singing all these songs. That might be the best show I've ever been to, because it was so crazy that they showed up and played in his living room. They were already pretty big. Like they weren't big like they are like now, of course, or 10 years ago, whatever. But they were like pretty big. Like when we found out they were playing at Pasadena at a house, we were like, what? Like choking? Why? Like they could play at like the Warped Tour or something.
Yeah, whatever that like, time period. Yeah.
I was like, they could do anything they want. And we were like, whatever, let's go out there. And that was like an hour from where we were. So we all got in these cars and drove out there. And like, it was one of the coolest nights ever, man. Like, and there wasn't no girls involved for me. It was like, there was girls there, but like, I wasn't like scoring with some chick. No, it was just like, it's one of the most like authentic punk things I've ever done in my life. Like we went and we showed up. It was DIY to the bone. Nobody had to pay to get in. There was beer. There was weed. There was cigarettes. There was a fight. There was a couple of bands that played. Like, and nobody like went to jail. It was just awesome, dude. Like, it was one of the coolest things. That's probably a story I should tell in an actual like whole pot, because that was a night, bro. That was craziness, man. Yeah, you could get me talking for 17 hours, bro. I'm gonna shut up now. Let's move on. I think I have. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Blackout?
No, go listen to it if you haven't. It's great.
Yeah, I agree, dude. Man, anybody that's wondering why I can't shut up, it's because I can't shut up. So, my apologies.